Welcome to A View to a Grill. Today we're going to be doing chicken under a brick using the Golden's cast iron mini cooker. Let's talk about the ingredients. We'll need some olive oil, some of my salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder rub. If you haven't seen that already, check out the link above. We're going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt to that rub. Just bring the salt content up a little more for the marinade. A tablespoon of mixed Italian dry herbs. Also have about the juice of 3 lemons, and then a bunch of fresh cut basil and rosemary. I'm also going to pair that with this dry rub. Now let's get all of our ingredients into a Ziploc baggie, and this is what you're going to end up with in the bag. It's time to get our fresh herbs. We'll just use some kitchen shears to cut those up in the bag. Now that you've done all that, it's time to zip up the bag. Make sure you leave a little bit of air in there, twist it up, shake it vigorously, and then once you're done, everything is mixed thoroughly, it's time to prepare the chicken. Now, the first thing we're going to do is spatchcock this chicken and then cut it into chicken halves. I like to start off by patting the chicken dry. Once your chicken is patted dry, we want to take our kitchen shears and cut down both sides of the backbone. Once you have the backbone removed, you can see this keel bone at the top of the chicken where the neck used to be. We're just going to want to put a small cut right in the center of that. I like to trace down both sides of that top of the cartilage of the keel bone. Press on both sides of the keel bone just to kind of pop it loose. And sometimes both sides don't pop loose. If that's the case for you, just put another little notch on that cartilage area, put some pressure on that, and pop it loose also. Now that you have both sides loose, you can either go ahead and grab that keel bone now and pull it out, or you can continue to trace down both sides of the keel bone just so you can get a little bit of a better handle on that. And once you do, then pull it out. And at this time, you have a spatchcock chicken. We're going to go a little further though and debone the chicken breast by taking out the rib cage. Now, I also like to remove the portion of the backbone that is attached to the thigh bone, and then just separate the two breasts, and now we have two chicken halves. I'm also going to cut away just a little bit of this excess fat on the chicken thighs. Now it's time to get that into our bag of marinade. I've decided to increase the volume of the marinade, and I'm going to do that just by adding 2 or 3 tablespoons of water. I'm going to make sure we mix the marinade back up. Now let's get the chicken into our marinade, making sure we take out as much air as we possibly can. This is going to help the marinade cover the chicken just a little bit better. Also, we're going to want to massage the marinade into the chicken and move it around a little bit just to make sure that we have 100% coverage. And now just get that chicken on a clean plate or sheet pan and throw it in the refrigerator for the next 4 to 6 hours. While that's marinating in the refrigerator, we're going to want to prepare our grill. For this cook, we're going to need 2 bricks. Now, if it's cold out, you're going to want to warm these bricks up first. It's hot today, so I just left these out in the Texas sun. And just by doing that, they got up to about 128 degrees. We'll just get those wrapped up in foil paper. I just kind of did it like if they were Christmas presents with the little corners and everything. As long as they're wrapped up and the brick is not getting on your food, you'll be fine. I'll be reusing my charcoal from the last cook, so we'll get that cleaned up first. I like to remove any used charcoal that I'm not going to use out of my cooker. Just makes me feel better. I'll get my pizza pan back in the bottom of the Golden's cast iron Kamado, and then make sure I'm not blocking the bottom vent. Now that the charcoal's clean, I just kind of pile it up right in the middle of the fire pot. To start this fire, we're going to be using the Superior Trading Company fire starters. They're all natural and they're made right here in the USA. I'm also going to be using the small Weber kettle chimney starter. For this smaller Golden's cast iron mini cooker, it's the perfect size. To get a little bit of smoke on the meat, we're going to be using 1 chunk of oak. Also added a little bit of Kingsford just around the perimeter, just because I thought I was going to need it. We're going to start our fire about 30 minutes before we start grilling. Now that everything's ready to go, we'll go ahead and get our chimney starter lit. And then once you see the top charcoals ash over, it's time to get that into the Golden's cast iron mini cooker. Now let's finish getting the rest of this set up. We'll get the sear plate in and then the grill grates right on top of that and close the lid. For this cook, I am going to want to get everything preheated, so we're going to start bringing our pit up to temp. We got the lid closed. We're bringing this up to temp, and now it's when I like to add my wood chunk. I just add it right under the firebox, and as the coals burn in the firebox, they drop little lit embers right onto the wood, and eventually it will catch that wood on fire. Today our target temperature is going to be between 225 and 250 on the dome thermometer of the Golden's cast iron mini cooker, and that's where I'm going to want it while I get some smoke on the chicken. Now that we've reached our target temperature, I'm going to close the bottom vent just a little bit just to maintain that temperature. I don't want it to go much higher than what it is. Now it's time to get the chicken ready to go on the grill. So at this time, we're going to take our rosemary and basil sea salt rub and get that right onto the skin side of the chicken. I want that skin to be as flavorful as it possibly can be. Now before we get the chicken on, I want to show you that the little chunk of oak that we put under the firebox is burning and producing smoke. We'll get our chicken halves on skin side down, and we'll get those warm bricks right on top of that. The purpose of the bricks is to help press the chicken and make that skin side as flat as possible. This allows us to get as much surface area as possible on the grill, getting the skin crispy. Our temperature is hanging out at around 225 degrees. That's on the low end of our range, but we're just going to go with that since it's holding. And then after about 30 minutes, we're going to crank up the heat. We'll get the top vent open, and I'm going to double the intake on the bottom vent. When you're cranking the heat up, that's a good time to rotate the meat, because you're going to open the vents, open the lid. That's going to let all of this nice fresh oxygen into your cooking chamber, and which is a great environment for your fire to grow. So if you make a mistake like I did and I rotated and flipped them, you're going to want to flip them back over to the skin side. Now I'm not worrying about the chicken skin burning because we have that sear plate in between the fire and the skin. So we're well protected. We shouldn't see any charred skin. When the breasts reach an internal temperature of about 145 degrees, that's when I like to take the bricks off and then flip the chicken to flesh side down. And as you can see, those bricks did their job. The surface of that skin is nice and flat, golden brown and delicious. What is that? Golden brown and GBD, I think. I don't know. Now I want to crank the heat up even more, so I'm going to open the bottom vent wide open, open the top vent just to make sure we're getting maximum airflow, which is going to create a high heat. When I'm cooking chicken halves, I like to temp by the thigh. Now this is my personal preference, about 170 degrees, and then remove the chicken halves. I know most people like 165, but for me, 170 seems to be where I like them, but you take your chicken off at the temperature you like. Now we'll get a little bit of that chicken breast off, and I think y'all are gonna like this chicken a lot. If you haven't subscribed already, why not? Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching a View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.